Hello everyone, I am International Master Ratkovic Milovan. Welcome to the Rapport-Jobava System. Are you tired of playing openings that everybody know? Are you tired of learning a bunch of lines you don't even understand? Do you want to play something unusual, unorthodox and unconventional? This is definitely the right place for you. Rapport-Jobava System is actually new opening invented just a few years ago, and it's believe me very successful for white. There is not much theory in here, but you need to know some main ideas and motives for white, and that is basically it. In this course we will go through most important lines here. We will systematically talk about all possible variations in the Rapport-Jobava system, so you will have like the whole repertoire for white on this place. So this opening is named after two super strong grandmasters, Richard Rapport from Hungary and Bahdur-Jobava from Georgia. They are famous because of their unique style. They like to attack, they like to play unusual positions, and they started playing this opening first, and then like other super strong grandmasters started playing this as well. So many top grandmasters have this repertoire, have this opening in their repertoire, like Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, Levon Aronian, Karyakin, Firuzja, Artemiev, like a lot of strong players. So that means that this opening is really good for white, and it's actually very solid for white. White doesn't take any unnecessary risk or something like that. White plays basically safely, but at the same time this is very tricky opening for black, because it's really not easy to organize good play for black. You will see in many positions computer says that it is equal position or slightly better position for white, but it's very uncomfortable for black, and it's really difficult to play these variations as black. So let's get started. I will show you how does this go. d4 is the first move. Knight goes to f6 first, but even if black play d5, it can transpose into Rapport-Jobava system. So knight f6. Then the second move should be knight to c3. White wants to push e4 and to gain space in the center. For that reason, black goes for d5. d5 is the main move and definitely the best move for black. And then in the third move, white goes for bishop f4. So this is the most important position here. So this is the Rapport-Jobava system. So this is the key position, as I said. And now there are 6 possibilities for black, 6 main moves for him. As I said before, we are going to analyze all of them, and I will show you how to proceed if black play those moves. So in this course we are going to talk about these moves. We're going to talk about fianchetto variation. What if black goes for g6 and bishop g7? We're going to talk about e6. e6 is, by the way, the main move, and there are a lot of games in this variation, so we are going to talk about this variation first. There is also c6 variation, also very solid for black. There is c5 variation, a bit risky, but there will be some nice positions later for white. There is a6 variation. Black wants to stop knight b5. Very common idea in Rapport-Jobava system for black. And there is bishop goes to f5 variation. Black wants to develop his light squared bishop. So we are going to talk about these 6 lines in this course. So as I said, e6 is the main move, so we will start analyzing this variation. So what is the main idea in the Rapport-Jobava system for white? The main idea is to play knight b5 and attack the c7 pawn. That is the point. We will see. In many different variations, white should just jump there, attack the c7 pawn, or if black push c5, then jump there and threaten to fork on c7. It doesn't matter, but this is the key idea. So why are we doing this? Because we want to force black to play knight a6, and then that knight on a6 is badly placed, and it's really not easy for black to organize his play afterwards. So that's the point, to force black to put this knight on this unfavorable square, bad square a6, and that will slow him down, and then his development will be much slower. So after knight b5, there are 3 possible replies for black. There is knight a6. Knight a6 is the main move. We'll talk about this later. Before that, let's see other 2 moves. They are bishop goes to d6 and bishop b4 check. Let's see bishop b4 first. I know it's a little bit unusual line, because black wants to defend the c7 pawn by playing bishop a5, but believe me, some players really do this, so you have to be prepared on this. What should white do? Of course c3, no doubt. Then bishop goes to a5 and the c7 pawn is defended. What should white do? It's a very interesting position, and there is definitely a good way to get rid of the bishop, to try to put some pressure there. Let's play a4. Now there is b4 idea, and when the bishop goes back, there is a5 move, and the bishop on b6 is going to be trapped. So that's the point. So for example, if black plays short castle, he doesn't pay attention, then b4, bishop b6, and then just a5, and the bishop is trapped. White wins. What else black can do? c6 looks very natural for black, but the problem is knight d6 check, with much better position for white already, because the king will have to go to e7 or f8, but then black doesn't have right to castle, so we don't even have to analyze this variation. It's clearly much better for white. So black is forced to play a6 in this moment. Now, knight jumps to a3 would be bad for us, because the knight on a3 would be misplaced. I mean, definitely not good for white. Instead, white should continue playing like that. b4 is our idea, so let's do it. Now 2 moves for black, 2 options for him. There is bishop goes to b6, actually 3 options, sorry. There is bishop goes to b6, bishop takes b4, and a takes b5. Let's see a takes b5 first. So what happens if black takes the knight? Then we will not take the bishop immediately. Instead, a4 pawn takes b5, and bishop cannot go back to b6 because the rook on a8 is hanging. White is threatening to take on a5 in the next move, and then white is going to be a pawn up. So the best move for black is probably b6, just to defend the bishop. Then white should take, black takes with the pawn, and then let's play e3. White is already slightly better, because we managed to create bad pawn structure for black on the queen side. You see that the a5 pawn, it is maybe passed pawn, correct, but it's very weak. So we're going to try to attack and take that pawn later. Also, his position is not so great, because these pieces are still on the back rank. He has not castled yet, so white is just white will just try to develop pieces, and that is basically it. White will have better position. So let's take a look. Knight bd7, then knight f3 should be played. Normal. Bishop b7, bishop d3. Maybe c5 for black. He wants to get some space on the queen side. Then en passant, bishop c6, but then let's play bishop d6 and prevent castling. This bishop is fantastic here. You see? This is our central piece, the most important piece we have at the moment. Okay, maybe knight e4 to get rid of the bishop. But then the bishop goes back to a3. We still control that diagonal. Maybe f6 for black. f6, king f7 idea. Black will not castle, but he will create some sort of artificial castling there. Then let's castle short. King f7. And now is the right time to take the knight, to bring the knight back, and to push c4 with much better position for white. There is a very nice game played in 2016 between strong grandmasters. White was Grandmaster Jobava and black is Grandmaster Gelfand. So very nice game. Please, if you have time, take a look. Okay, let's go back and see what happened here. So d4 is the first move, knight f6, knight c3 the second move, d5, and then bishop goes to f4 in the third move. As I said, the most important position, and black has 6 continuations. In this moment, we started analyzing the main one, and that is e6. Knight b5 should be played, and then bishop b4 check. c3, bishop a5, a4. The only move for black is a6. The only good move for him is a6. Now let's play b4. So we analyzed a takes b5 variation. You should remember, just take there with the a pawn. What if black does something else? What if bishop goes to b6? Bishop goes to b6 is a mistake, serious positional mistake, and now white can gain advantage. White should play a5. Now black is forced to take the knight on b5, the only good move for black. And then a takes b6 should be played. Rook takes a1, queen takes a1. The c7 pawn is pinned. It cannot take on b6 because of the knight on b8. So black needs to play knight a6 in order to cover this square, to defend the c7 pawn. But then let's take on c7, knight takes c7, and then queen goes to a5. Black will lose the b5 pawn, and then white will be a pawn up. So much better position for white in this variation. Later, don't forget to play e3, knight f3, bishop d3 to develop other pieces, and that's it. White is material up, and white is clearly better here. So it is not good for black to go bishop b6 because of a5. The third option for black in this moment is bishop takes b4. Not so bad idea. It will be just... this is actually just a simple trade. White should take. Black takes the knight. White takes the pawn. Material is even, but this position is really interesting because there is open a file and there is open c file, which means that the c7 pawn might be in danger in the future. Black takes a1, definitely the only move. Queen takes a1, queen e7, attacking the pawn. Oh, sorry, this arrow is not... Okay, so queen e7, attacking the b4 pawn. Let's play queen to b2. Short castle, then let's play e3. We need to develop these 3 pieces. Maybe knight h5 to attack and take our strong bishop. We don't mind, I mean, knight h3 should be played and our knight will have excellent position on f4. Knight takes f4, knight takes f4. I mean, these 2 pieces are undeveloped and it's really not easy for black to find good squares for them. So probably knight d7, But then let's play bishop d3, let's castle short, and then we will bring the rook to c1 to attack this backward pawn on c7, or we will bring the rook to a1 from where it can go to a7 or to a8 or something like that. So definitely very interesting position. Computer says something like equal or slightly better for white, but as I said before, many times we will have something like this in the game, like computer says, okay, it's equal position, but actually on the board many things are going on, so we cannot say equal. We can say unclear, but you see that it's much more comfortable to play this as white than as black, because black still have some issues here. As I said, the c7 pawn is okay, at the moment safe, but later we will create battery on the c file and attack it. Also the bishop on c8. It's totally restricted, and I really don't see a good way for black to develop it. So very comfortable position for white, and white has excellent chances to win this. Okay, we are done with bishop b4 variation. I hope you remember what to do. So if bishop b4, c3, bishop a5, and then remember this move. a4 should be played, black has to play a6, and then b4. Now 3 continuations. That's it, we said everything about this. Let's see what happens if bishop goes to d6. Very interesting way to defend the c7 pawn to do this. I mean, white can just take with the knight on d6 and have slightly better position. Slightly better position, yeah, but that advantage is long-term advantage. So white will have very comfortable, very good position with more space, with better development, with bishop pair on the board. So let's just take with the knight. C takes d6. Now let's play e3. Now 2 options. So there is short castle and there is knight to c6. Let's see knight c6 first. If that, then knight f3, maybe queen e7. There is e5 idea for black, but we're not worried about that. Bishop e2. Don't make a mistake. This would be typical mistake. Bishop d3 is horrible move because then e5, and when the bishop goes somewhere, then e4 fork. So for that reason, the bishop should be developed here. e5 maybe, then we could go to g3, that would be good square, or we could pin. Even better for us, this is very annoying for black. Bishop e6, and then castling is possible, or it's possible to play c4 right away and attack black's center. So white is definitely slightly better in this position because of better, more solid pawn structure and because of the bishop pair. So yeah, that's basically it about this line. What if black doesn't play knight c6, instead castling? Then let's play knight f3, knight c6, let's play bishop e2. Again, we have the same reason. I mean, if bishop d3 directly, e5 is not an instant threat, but black will prepare that, so we will have to do something about that later in the future. So let's play bishop e2, much safer. Queen e7 with e5 idea. Then let's play h3. h3 is a very good prophylactic move. Now we have the h2 square for our bishop. e5. Bishop goes h2. Then maybe h6 for black. Short castle, bishop f5, then let's play c3. c4 is also possible, but we have plenty of time. We will do that later. I forgot to mention that. Don't take on e5, because if you take on e5, you will undouble black pawns, and now black has perfect pawn structure. We want to have this tension in the center, and we don't want to take there yet. Maybe later at some point, if you have something concrete, sure, you can take e5, but don't do that now. So let's play c3 to improve the pawn structure, to have this nice pawn chain in the center. Rook fe8 maybe. Let's develop the queen then. Let's try to develop all our pieces. a6, rook fd1 maybe. rook ac8, rook ac1, bishop g6, then let's play queen to a3, with this idea to take at some point, then to take the queen, and then maybe the e5 pawn will fall. Queen e6, and now it's the right time for c4, and let's attack black's center. There is a very interesting game, and if you have time, it would be great to analyze it, between Aleksenko and Nuristani, played in 2017. Aleksenko won it, and yeah, please take a look. It's very instructive. Okay, so we are done with this first part. I hope you like these variations. So, what is interesting about this first part, about these two lines, bishop b4 and bishop d6? They're quite, how would I say, let's say passive for black. I mean, black knows that this is very tricky opening, so he chooses simpler way to defend the c7 pawn. In Rapport-Jobava system, there are many crazy lines. Many times white attacks black on the king side or something like that. In these two variations we saw in this video, that doesn't happen. Actually, in this video we saw some variations, some games where white plays positionally and white tries to outplay black. But I just wanted to say that in this course, many times we will see some crazy kingside attacks, and after a couple of moves, white just mates black on an incredible way. So this is very interesting and specific opening, which means, like, many times white should play positionally, sometimes white should defend, sometimes white should attack, and that's it. And that's why I really like it, because it's, as I said, very unusual, and your opponent will definitely not be ready. Your opponent will not be prepared on this, because this is something new, something that was not played before. So I definitely recommend you to start playing the Rapport-Jobava system for white. Okay, so we are done with this part. In the next part, we will see what to do if your opponent played the main move, and that is knight goes to a6.